So, Saul Goodman. Am I allowed to call you Jimmy?
Saul Goodman is my professional name, but my friends still call me Jimmy. You can too.
Well, tell me about Saul Goodman.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, if he's not Jimmy McGill, who is he?
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the new Howard and Jimmy sneak peek trailer going into Season 5, Episode 4 of Better Call Saul. Warning of spoilers up to episode 503, and let's jump right into this. So this sneak peek features Howard actually meeting with Jimmy for lunch, and he's asking Jimmy about his Saul Goodman business persona.
What's he about?
Well, Saul Goodman is, he's the last line of defense for the little guy.
Howard is actually meeting with Jimmy at the same restaurant that he would previously take his HHM clients to in previous seasons, and yes, I did just talk about this in my previous video, I'll get to that in just a moment. But in the sneak peek, Howard asks if he's allowed to call Saul Jimmy, and Jimmy clears it up by saying that Saul is his business name, while friends still call him Jimmy, and he also adds that Howard can call him Jimmy as well. Some nice clarification for what he actually thinks of himself. I call him Saul whenever he's in colorful ties, doing cons, talking to the cartel, or just being a sleazeball lawyer in general. And I call him Jimmy when he's at home with Kim or just off work in his personal life. Potato potato, let's move on.
Are you getting sold down the river? He's a life raft. Are you getting stepped on? He's a sharp stick. You got Goliath on your back. Saul's the guy with the slingshot. He's a righter of wrongs. He's a friend to the friendless. That's Saul Goodman.
Wow.
Howard asks that if Saul isn't Jimmy, who is he? Jimmy gives what he thinks is a pretty solid answer, explaining how Saul helps out the small-time criminals while trying to sound professional instead of sleazy. Saul seems confident in his answer, and I thought it was pretty solid as well, until Howard's clever counter. He asks if Saul can do all that, then why can't Jimmy?
That's Saul Goodman.
Wow. Couldn't Jimmy McGill do all that?
Maybe he could, but Saul Goodman is.
But we all know the true answer, or at least part of it, which he told Kim during Season 5, Episode 1. Jimmy McGill will always be known as Chuck McGill's loser brother, and he wants a fresh start doing what he likes, cutting shortcuts, creating cons, and making bank without any judgment or association to his family. Chuck was his final family member, and he truly wanted them to stay together, but with Chuck putting the writing in cement that that'll never happen, Jimmy feels like he needs to do this in order to be able to move on from that instead of forever living in Chuck's shadow. He almost doesn't even want to acknowledge Chuck because he doesn't want Chuck to win, as one of Chuck's goals were to purposely make Jimmy as miserable as possible, knowing that he wouldn't get the one thing he wanted most, his brother's approval and genuine affection. Now, though I love talking my head off about it, something like the Chuck versus Jimmy situation is just so intricate that it's difficult for me to wrap my head around it during a simple discussion from a third perspective, so I can't imagine Jimmy trying to explain it all, let alone to Howard, or even open up about it to anyone like Kim in the first place. This is because not only of Jimmy's emotions, or rather compartmentalization of them, there's just so many different branches, perspectives, along with different domino effects leading to the events that occurred between him and his brother. I can't wait to go through the entire show episode by episode, breaking it down as we give our opinions, because then we'll literally be able to go through the entire Jimmy versus Chuck saga step by step and fully analyze the lifelong feud between them. But anyways, back to the sneak peek. Instead of getting into all that nonsense or even mentioning Chuck when Howard asked Jimmy if he could do what Saul is doing, Jimmy replies by saying that he might be able to, but Saul is, kind of just confirming that he's made up his mind about Saul regardless of the reasoning, so Howard should stop asking because he doesn't want to talk about it. I feel like Howard can tell that Jimmy is distancing himself from his family name, and that Chuck is the reason for him to change from Jimmy McGill to Saul Goodman, but Saul wasn't really expecting that implication to be brought up at lunch, so it catches him off guard and he just instantly tries to shut it down. This is where the sneak peek ends off, but I feel like Howard will persist. I don't think that this will end up being a huge argument like with Kim, because in the trailers we've seen that this lunch meeting between them ends with them shaking hands outside of the entrance to the restaurant, so what do they agree on? Do they make a deal? Does Howard finally give Jimmy the sandpiper money or what? One of you guys mentioned in the comments in my previous video that it's not really necessary for Howard to take Jimmy out to lunch just to let him know that the sandpiper settlement is going through, so it really feels like he wants to confront Jimmy over something more than just that, or he has something to offer him. So although their conversation may end up there, maybe that's why they're shaking hands at the end, I feel like we'll get more of Howard trying to poke and prod away at Jimmy's new persona and why he made this switch. I hope that Jimmy shaking Howard's hand this whole moment isn't Howard's final send-off scene for the show, and that we will see him more in the future for other story arcs, but we'll just have to wait and see. Oh, and one of you guys reminded me of a clip from a previous season 5 trailer where we see two women walking into the same restaurant that Howard always goes to. Now, my original theory before Howard asked Jimmy to lunch and it was confirmed that they went, was that Jimmy would be at the restaurant because of those two girls as his clients from the Magic Man tent in episode 1, and Howard would bring his own client, the mystery man that we see Howard and Jimmy facing in the promo image, and then they would meet there on coincidence. I assume that those women are Saul's clients somehow, but I'm not sure if Saul's just meeting with them or if he's having them pull a con or a scam with him. I'm also unsure if it's even the same day as when Jimmy meets with Howard for lunch. And well, for more of my theories, predictions, and opinions on what we'll see from Howard and Jimmy for the rest of the season, or just Howard on the show in general, check out my previous video I did yesterday, Howard Meets Saul. I discussed everything we thought about Howard after the events of season 4 going into season 5, along with the possibilities of Howard and Jimmy working together, or at least whether or not Howard will have an important story arc in the near future, one that possibly involves Jimmy as Saul Goodman. Now, the ones of you who've already seen my last video are probably asking yourselves what's going on here, and the thing is, well, just like that guy told Kim, this feels like a swift kick in the balls. Right after I uploaded my original Howard and Jimmy video, I had you guys in the comments informing me of this second sneak peek. So thank you guys, there's a mini shout out for you because I honestly didn't know that this sneak peek existed when I did my Howard and Jimmy season 5 video, or I would have just included it in there. I've been mentioning in videos that I've been meaning to do a Howard and Jimmy prediction video ever since we were breaking down the promo trailers before season 5 had even started. Just like how I've been meaning to do a Gene video ever since episode 1, which should come out in a few days, but anyways, I've been planning on doing that Howard and Jimmy video since before season 5, and of course the day that I finally decide to do it, they just so happened to drop a sneak peek trailer literally about the scene that I'm discussing. So with that in mind, think of this video as the sneak peek trailer breakdown, while that past Howard and Jimmy video has to do with the entire season in general, along with just a current update on Howard's character, where he is right now, and my opinions on him since season 4. I loved breaking down that scene where Kim yells at him, along with the scene of him and Jimmy in the bathroom, so go and check that video out if you haven't yet already. Now, I had a second video originally planned for today, so I might do a second video later, either about Hank or Lalo, I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes, but I'd like to get a video about both of them done, along with Gene, before I do my 503 review, before episode 4 airs. But enough of me talking about the chronological order of my videos, they're all going to get done going into and during this weekend before episode 4 airs on Monday, so check back on the channel daily and hit that bell notification if you haven't yet already to be notified of whenever I do upload. By the way, I usually try to upload either in the mornings or in the middle of the afternoon Pacific time. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, as I'm always thankful for you guys helping me appease the YouTube algorithm. If this is the first video you are seeing from me, welcome, subscribe, and hit that bell notification for more content on Better Call Saul in the near future. And as always, thank you guys all so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of your support recently, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
He's a righter of wrongs. He's a friend to the friendless. That's Saul Goodman.
Wow. Couldn't Jimmy McGill do all that?